Hello, I'm Hugh, and I'm going to be doing a run through of the newest version of WARSIM. So, lots of new features, hundreds of thousands of new creatures. Let's get into it. So, first thing I'm going to show you is, I'm going to load my favorite save, and then we're going to get into the game. So, we're going to try and generate some new kingdoms, and let's see what we come up with. So, we got Ash Centaur, Storm Men, Shadow Lizard Men, Hill Ogres, Cursed Hobgoblins. Nothing new. Pirate Centaurs, Rotting Fawn, Berserk Centaur, blah blah blah. Nope, nothing new. There we go. Golden Mouse Folk and Cavern Evolved Cobras. They're new. So basically, there's a massive list of animals. Not massive actually, it's like maybe 50 or 60, I can't remember. But it's a list of animals. The animals have stats, and in the game you have things like evolved, or folk, or men, or were, or half. Like so, you can have half mice, were mice, evolved mice, mice folk, mice men, things like that. And but also every other creature, and so it makes a even more dynamic group of extra races that you'll get in the game. And we'll check them out. See if we can read their descriptions. So let's have a look. Golden Mouse Folk. So look at the kingdom information. The Golden Mouse Folk Tethys communities of Lethwin is made up of 1,540 troops, and is led by Master Iramir the Yielding. Known for their large front teeth and their ability to hide away, they are strange folk. Its people are known as Golden. Their famed words are, "We remember who you did." Shit. Okay. Also, unique troops for everything else. So Golden Mouse Man, Golden Mouse Man Soldier, Golden Mouse Man Champion. And if we go to, let's go to the Tritons. So I've changed the way that troop trees work in that sense. Normally it would just say Triton, Militant Triton, and Triton Warrior. Now it has the suffix, prefix. Now has the prefix before it in the unit name, so you have more unique units, which is always fun. And yeah, so I've done that. The kingdom description's changed a little. Now, wow, the Cave Knolls triumphant free city of that's an interesting one. Right, let's generate some more races then. See what we get. Shapeshifting Sasquatches, arcane were snails, mist necromancers, southwestern, blah 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 blah. There we go. Raider fiends. That's what we want to find. So I've added a bunch of new sorry, hiccups. Curry. I've added a bunch of new creatures to the game. Prefixes. A bunch of new prefixes to the game. So these are things like Raider, Reaver, things like that, which adds a new kind of kingdom you'll find in your game. So we're going to check them out now. And actually, no, we're going to skip our turn. And once again, and if you look, there we go. Raider Fiends, Ragged Free Principality of Nabkin, pillage 9,000 gold from you. So they act just like a bandit kingdom, or sorry, just like the bandit groups and Thanos Bandit Horde. A bandit kingdom will basically do exactly the same stuff. They will raid you every turn, and they're limited by the same things the bandits are limited to, and it's a very similar process. But it means that you'll have way more unique kingdoms in your game. You might have one that's a wizard kingdom that has like only 10 people in it because they're super strong, or like a Titan kingdom. You might have a swarming kingdom of Orklings, and then you've got kingdom of wizards doing all sorts of stuff. You've got necromancers summoning undead, and then you've got a bandit kingdom raiding everyone. So they'll all start to develop their own personalities. You've got a doomed kingdom then that's going to end at some point. All sorts of stuff. I mean, maybe you've got a doomed bandit kingdom. Get what's coming to them. But so there's all that crap in the game. And yeah. So aside from that, we have a new member of staff. His name is Gorin currently, but a high general. So I'm going to fire this guy, and oh, didn't mean to do that, but we're going to have a look, and we're going to hire a new guy. So here's what we got. We've got Baradir the Skullcracker, Garbantar the Godly, and Yassel the Skull. So hello, I'm Baradir the Skullcracker. I can command vast. I can hold command of vast armies. It would be a great honor to serve you. Blah 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 blah. I am possessed by the god of war. War isn't cheap, but hiring me will be the best business decision you'll ever make. Wow. To attention, I'm Garbantar the Godly. What a prick. Okay, and hello, my name is Yassel the Skull. I good general. You'd be an act of a fool to not hire me. You will pay me 160. This guy needs to learn English, man. Wow. Okay, so we got a guy called Yassel the Skull, which sounds like an orc name, so he can't speak too good. Garbantar, who's like real up his own ass, prick, but he has amazing skills. Wow. Garbantar hands down. Skills don't actually matter at the moment though, so there's no thing for that. So if we go to High General, Garment of the Godly, we can do a bunch of things. So I've added a lot of the things that are in the kingdom screen, one of the kingdom screens earlier, into here instead. So you can change your troop wages here. You can look at the faction rankings. You can look at your current troop count. And another interesting thing is you can ask Garbantar the Godly, or whoever your High General is, to hide dead factions on the screen. So if I do that, and we go to the combat screen, all that's being displayed at the moment, very badly albeit, because the names are too long at the moment, I need to sort that out. But all that's being displayed at the moment is the names of the independent kingdoms and the 2 goblin kingdoms, because I've killed everything else. And if I were to kill one of these independent kingdoms, they would disappear on this, and it's really cool. And I've been raided again. So yeah, aside from that, you'll just find a lot more creatures in your land that have interesting origins. Roving spider folk, marauder evolved hyenas. Wow, death gnomes, that's pretty null. Things like that. So, unless I'm missing something, I think that's everything. Yeah, we've got bandit kingdoms, new race effects like doomed bandit. We've got I fixed the incorrect stat multiplier. So, for example, when you have like giants or titans, it was often the weakest, like the peasant equivalent of a titan unit was like the strongest for some reason, and I've worked it out backwards to the multiplication scales. So that's all fine. I fixed a bug in Fort Kullak in the exploration screen in the north, where you couldn't leave if you destroyed it, and it was just bugged and crashed. So with the 60 new race suffixes, I've added 6,160 new races you'll find in your game, and with the animal race system being added in, that's an extra 60,000 again on top of that, so it's 66,000 new creatures all in all. I've updated the race description screen, updated troop names to reflect the kingdom, updated the reroll screen, if you may have noticed, isn't as clustered as last time, whereas normally it would say Titan Fawn communities, blah blah, led by, all on the same line, led by is on a separate line, and the population lands have been combined. So everything's a lot more streamlined, and you get less crap and less overreaching data, which is good. Well, for me at least. I mean, I don't imagine this is going to be used by people a lot. What else did I do? I fixed the mercenary troop boost. So there's a bug that's been in the game for a while, I've noticed, and I've just never gotten around to fixing it, where and I think it's gone. I haven't actually checked to make sure it's gone, but when you fight someone with a mercenary group, you earned troops at the end of that somehow. Like I would have no soldiers, and I'd kill someone with a mercenary group, and then I suddenly had like 100 soldiers, and I was like, well, where the hell did that come from? I think I fixed that. And aside from that, I allowed the ability to compress the combat screen. That's pretty much it. So long story short, it's the 66,000 new races again that are the focus of this, and plus generals. We'll go some of that eventually, but at the moment I'm still moving on with races. I've got a whole big list of potential races I'll be adding in the future. So we've got pyromancers, harpies, aquamancers, tree men, skeletons, general folk, snotlings, which are going to be like tiny little orky dwarfy things, which I believe already exist. I think I've got them online. Leprechauns, gorgons, fairies, genies or jinn or whatever, witches, liches, bitches, ghouls, wights, wraiths, elders, zombies, and daemons, which are going to be like a different kind of demon maybe. And then I've got loads of suffixes in the waiting list sort of thing. And there's a lot of features I'm planning to get in the game at some point. Yeah, I think the plans at the moment are to perhaps tweak around with the generals' abilities and how their skills will affect things. So, for example, your battle score bonuses and things like that will be affected greatly, and your sort of battles chances in general. Having a good general, excuse the pun, will do you really good. I want to add another thing as well, where obviously every race has their own stats of like gold, for example. I want to add where really uncivilized kingdoms don't have gold because they're not civilized enough to have a monetary system. So why would they save up loads of money and have an economy? So I'm gonna remove that. I'm planning to add, I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, a world graveyard. So the way that will work is necromancers. I mean, I don't want the game to be shallow in the way that there are just undead armies being pulled out of the dirt with no sense to the system. So the idea will be that for every peasant of yours that dies, every enemy you kill in the game, if you kill a cold minotaur, if you kill 100 cold minotaurs inside a file called graveyard, which will be a bit of a homage to other wastes, but it'll say minotaur, 100, you know, and their stats and stuff. But it'll show you how many minotaurs there, and that stat will increase the more you kill. And your peasants, it'll probably say like by the end of a game, it'll be like 100 and something thousand. You know, it'll be tons. So what'll happen is the game will start off with a sort of pre-made random graveyard file with a bunch of random dead things that exist in your world in that file. But as the game goes on, you will contribute to that greatly, and you'll be able to add laws like burn the dead to stop your kingdom from contributing to that at least. And there'll be some other cultures which will also burn the dead by chance, which will stop their kingdoms increasing that rate. But the necromancers will be able to summon undead from that. And I mean, for the most part, I imagine it's going to be very easy. They're always going to have some bodies to pull from in a sense. But yeah, so necromancers will be a huge part of the game in the future. If you find a necromancer kingdom in your game, it will be a different game, because you know, the same with wizards actually. For example, if we have like I don't know, the arcane giants maybe, but that's a hell of a race actually. But yeah, for example, any kind of wizards, that will change your game hugely, because I mean, you won't be able to. You'll find it really hard to fight wizards. It's not going to be straightforward as just strength alone. You'll have to try lots of different things. You'll have to use lots of skills and tricks to defeat them, because they're wizards. You know, so you'll send an army to attack them like you would with any normal faction, and your army will not arrive. It'll go to like a shadowed version of the place they're supposed to be sent to, because they've been misled by illusion magic, or you know, you'll defeat the wizards and then suddenly maybe you kill a wizard or two in like a brief assault, and then they summon an army of golems, or they craft golems. You know, maybe what I might do actually is maybe like, I mean, the plans are to have a mana system, so that they'll have like, they can do a bunch of spells per turn, but they'll be limited by mana, and their mana can be improved by doing various things. Maybe sacrifices if they're like that kind of wizard, you know, like blood wizards or something like that. They'll have to sacrifice to be able to gain mana each turn to keep a stable level. Whereas, you know, you'll find some that have towers that sort of absorb magic from the air, or I don't know, who knows. But there'll be a mana level which will be sort of limited by their civilization level, among other things. And also spell levels. Spell level will again be civilization level. So really civilized, high level race, you know, will have access to a lot better spells. But there will also be specific spells for specific levels. So, for example, like really savage shaman magicians will have their own unique magic that you won't find being casted by, you know, high wizards, you know, who are like, you know, 7 on the scale of civilization, which is, you know, quite high up, because I mean demigods are only 8. But you know, you'll find savage wizards with a civilization level of 1 or 2 who will have their very own unique sort of shamanistic tribal magic that will have its own effects. There'll be tons and tons of things to do with that, and it will completely change the game if you get those kind of kingdoms, which I like, because it keeps it replayable in the sense that whatever set of kingdoms you get given, your game will be completely different. And then maybe in the future it'll be the same with bandits. Maybe the bandits groups can vary a little bit, maybe this and that can vary a little bit, and eventually there'll be so many varying pieces to each game that your game will be so different, save to save. And you'll have one game where it's a massive, you know, clusterfuck of everything fighting each other, and no one's got a chance. And there might be another one where there's, you know, an empire of vampires infecting everyone, or I don't know, another one where there's like a wizard dominion who have subjugated every single kingdom and race in your world, including you maybe, you know, because I mean you could be subjugated, that could be a thing in the future, where you're not outright defeated. Because I mean in the game at the moment, it's more just staying along, but it's very hard to lose in the WARSIM at the moment. It's which is not so good, because you know, a game is nothing without a challenge, but it's fun to play, I suppose. But I did have there is some code in the game actually, but it won't run. I've blocked it off, that allows all the other kingdoms to attack you each turn, but it's complicated, so I've left it out for now. But I do plan to improve that soon, so that based on various things, kingdoms will decide who they want to attack each turn. So maybe they decide, well, fuck your kingdom because you've raided me loads. It'll depend on the relation you have with these kingdoms. They'll say you're my biggest enemy, but there'll also be other things factoring out, like threat level. So if you have a massive army and loads of other things, maybe they'll be diplomatic with one of your enemies and be like, hey, why don't we go in together because he's too strong? Or maybe a kingdom who's neutral with you will see that you're getting stronger progressively really quickly and think, that could be bad for us, and they'll go in. But it'll also depend on their own personalities and their own motives and things like that, which will vary to allow such a dynamic game. And there'll be assassinations, loads of things in the game. So yeah, and also I'm planning to have things like, for example, the peasants. If you send peasants or soldiers and stuff away to fight for that turn, they will not be present to defend or harvest or raid or whatever they do. For example, if you send all your bandits away, they won't be doing the raiding that turn because they're fighting instead. Peasants won't be farming because they'll be fighting. Soldiers, when you get attacked, obviously your troops will be divided by land. So if you have 100 peasants and you have 2 lands, there'll be 50 peasants defending the one land. If that one land gets invaded, well, if you've sent 30 peasants away or 40 peasants away, you'll only have 30 defending instead because there's obviously less to be split. So it'll become more strategic. You'll have to be like, I could attack right now, but I also don't want to screw myself over and lose a land, So maybe like I'll build up my power, but then be like, oh crap, they're building up their power, and it becomes more of a stimulating mental game. But at the moment, it's just a fun fuck around, manage a kingdom, and have a laugh kind of game with a bunch of random things in it and some battles and some random stuff. But it'll get there eventually, hopefully. So I've been waffling on for far too long. The new version is out. The downloads will be on Reddit. The links in the sidebar. I'll update it very soon. Saves are again going to be completely incompatible with whatever the last version was because a lot of new things have been added. It's mainly due to the generals. But if there's any problems, I can totally try to, make them work for you. Just have to let me know what version it's from. I'll try my best to fix that up for you. But yeah, aside from that, thank you for watching. Obviously, comment, rate, subscribe, whatever. It'd be nice to get some feedback on it. So, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, I guess.